the development. So nothing on the developer, nothing on the city. Basically saving $1.04 estimated $1 million on that. So it's really a good program to take advantage of. So basically, what we're proposing here is that the board approves this license agreement. This license agreement basically gives Corvius, Black and Veatch, their contractor, access to these parcels of land where they're city owned, and where they will be, so they can construct the ponds. So that's really it in a nutshell. There's a couple of things that conditions with this for this to take advantage of this GI funding. And that is that the work is to be publicly advertised and bid, and Corvius and their designers are taking care of that. They are coordinating all of that. And then lastly, upon completion of these basins, that then the city will be required to enter into a limited term conservation easement. And the conditions under that is that these basins be maintained by the city for a minimum of 11 years, so that they are functioning as designed and intended. That is, they are retaining that water, they are cleansing that water before it gets released downstream. And also part of this agreement is that that Corvius, which is really identified as CIS MMSD LLC, that it is their responsibility to maintain those ponds upon their completion for the first 2 years. So this 11 years tied to the conservation easement, it's really the last 9 years that is on the city. Now, I can't imagine that after 11 years that the city is going to just neglect these ponds, but that is the agreement. After 11 years, then there's no possible repercussions of, trying to recoup any of that grant money. So yes, the request is that this license agreement allowing access for the work to take place be approved. And that's really all it is at this point. Again, when they're constructed, there would be an action before the Common Council to enter into that conservation easement.
Like this Fresh Coast Protection Partnership Program, is this a replacement for their green seams programs that they had in the past?
I don't think so. I think that this is just another program that they came up with. They are trying to, they've got to find ways to really retain this water as part of their permit. And you may recall there was a green infrastructure potential parking lot project that MMSD was looking at the city for as part of this same program. And that was looking good. That did not happen then, although I think there's still a possibility that might come back around. But this is a more recent program.
Well, I would assume August is usually the month that the district goes after their, getting into their budget stuff too. But what I find amazing is like the point that you brought up. This term is for basically 11 years. And was it the first? I wasn't quite sure if it was one. It originally started out that there's 2 years that they're responsible for. And then later on, the verbiage was like 1 year after warranty or something. So I don't know if the warranty's for 1 year and then they're still responsible for, another year, which would make it 2, and then we're on the hook for the last 9. But what's unique is the fact that the boilerplate does not include in perpetuity as far as this goes. So this is something new that I've never seen before. Because, that's a huge investment to just let the city off the hook. I mean, theoretically, if there was a way they could get it approved you know, I know you got the arsenic and whatever else that's still buried in there that you couldn't develop over the top of it or something. So this is strange.
Yeah. I mean, everything about this site is, you know, pretty complex and, fairly unique. Everything that, as we're working with the developer and their engineers on all the soil handling out there, it's just it's very intricate, and it's going to be an interesting construction. But yeah, so that's part of the reason, why these basins are designed as they are. How can we get that? How can we retain that stormwater and yet still release it, safely, as far as the contaminated soils that are around it.
It's a big coup for the city. Probably the mayor had his hands in this one.
Yeah, this is a good opportunity to take advantage of for sure. I mean, there's big costs associated with this to the developer, and related to the the TIF agreement too. So I think it would be definitely a help with the finances.
Any other issues the sewage district is throwing our way? I'm meeting with Schaefer in 2 weeks.
Yeah, right. I mean, they need to go through their normal, get their stormwater permit. And actually, they've been working closely with Phil in our department on their stormwater, and he's given them their final comments. So he thinks they have an approvable plan. So once that gets approved by the city, then that gets sent on to MMSD for their review as well. So we're not anticipating any hiccups with that process. So
I have a question about after the 11 years, is there a potential cost to the city that may be able to maintain this or upkeep of this facility?
There's always a cost with anything more that gets constructed and then becomes the city's responsibility to maintain. So
do you have
yes.
an idea what that cost could run roughly?
I think that if these ponds are get a decent amount of TLC over that 11 years, that they still will be very healthy and functioning well at that time. So it's really a matter of keeping the trash out of there, the things that will blow in there, keeping the the edges mowed, and getting the natural vegetation, keeping that healthy. So that's all doing its work to retain and cleanse this stormwater.
Just a couple items to follow up with Fred's question, and we have a couple funding sources. Obviously, while the TID out here is in play, which is a 27-year district, I think the last year of this district is like 2043 or something such. That might be a few years short. That will be in play, and obviously we have our stormwater utility. This is unique in that our hope when we do these developments is that when we do developments in the city, that the stormwater maintenance is handled by the developer. Usually that's subrogated later on to a homeowners association or a condo owners association. Here, given the complexity and contamination within the soil, the city felt it best that we maintain responsibility for the maintenance of these ponds in perpetuity, because 20, 30 years down the road, when there's a condo association and a homeowners association there, and somebody's cousin Joe with a backhoe can come dredge out the pond for pretty cheap to that association. That's not what we want, given the contamination and things that we've done to rectify that contamination. We want to maintain the integrity of what we've done here. So this is unique in that the city will own and maintain these ponds, but rightfully so, and it is probably very logical to do so.
The scary part about it is the contamination of the soil in that area. And it just eventually could leach out back up and present a problem to us.
We thought there'd be more continuity in maintaining the integrity if the city had that responsibility versus a condo board 1 year and then 10 years later another condo board. So we thought that was prudent.
It's a good philosophy.
It sucks that we have to, incur the cost, but in this situation, I think the environmental integrity is more important than figuring out a cost component later on. And you know, we have to construct these ponds anyway for the development. This is where they need to be. This is where their grades are set. So it's nice to be able to have this funding partnership to you know, take up to maybe $1 million plus out of the equation for the developer in the city. So that's what we're looking
Kevin to turn around and pitch in for the other ones.
Up and down the lake.
Are these ponds located in an area that's known?
Adjacent to, et cetera.
That's not what I asked. Are they located specifically where there is known?
Let me look at the graphic again here, real quick. There are, you know, there's regions of and levels of contamination across these properties, and
I guess the gist of my question is, does the $1 million cost that they're covering include the management or disposal of those, or is that kind of left out of the mix, as in normal construction cost is $1 million and then we don't know what the disposal is, so that's an extra and we'll get hung with that at a later time?
right, yep. And so as I'm looking at the graphic here again, yeah, they are both in areas where there is, you know, the historical impacted soils. But in answer to your question, there is no cost to the city for the construction of these or to the development. It is wholly funded by this MMSD program. And so that $1 million that was the estimate to construct these, that included all the special soil handling.
Which requires very delicate DNR oversight and approval we're going through that now, and it's, I mean, the level of detail, it's insanity.
I
Yeah.
understand.
Oh, is it? I didn't know that. I'm sorry. Okay.
I think, you know, District 5 with EPA had their hands in the till on that one.
For a time, and then they'll leave. Set some off, get some going on.
And we've actually verified with EPA that they no longer have jurisdiction over these, and they've put it to the boots on the ground of the DNR. Yep.
Good thing.
Other questions? Motion?
Should so move to approve license agreement between the city of Oak Creek and CIS MMSD Limited Liability Corporation.
Scully seconds.
Roll call?
Hill, aye.
Tolman, aye. Guzekowski, aye.
Richards, aye.
Scully, aye.
Alrighty. Number 6. A motion to approve the progress payment for sanitary rehab project to Voucher and the amount of $86,000.
We're off on the boring old paying bills. This is just a progress payment for our sanitary sewer rehab project that's been going on. The contractor is very nearly done with the project. The only thing that's left is grouting some sanitary laterals within the lining area. But they did the spot repair, they did the lining. So this is another, I think this is the 3rd progress payment in this contract for $86,436.60. Yep, progress payment number 3.
Questions or comments? Motion?
Bill, move to approve the progress payment for sanitary rehabilitation project to Voucher in the amount of $86,436.60.
Richards will second.
Roll call?
Hill, aye.
Tolman, aye. Guzekowski, aye.
Richards, aye.
Scully, aye.
Alright, number 7, consider a motion to approve a change order number 1 for Rawson Avenue Water Extension Project to IHC Construction Company.
So this one's a little unique. IHC was awarded the contract to put in this water main loop extension on Rawson Avenue. When they were doing the construction, part of it is crossing the railroad facility that's there. Well, permits are in place, ready to go. Contractor has equipment and materials delivered to the site. They start their work and find a We Energies large line that crosses their work. This line was not shown on the as-built records that we got from We Energies. It was also not located in the digger's hotline request, so the contractor had no idea it was there. Thank goodness they didn't hit it, but this line does need to be moved. We Energies is working on that. It's going to take some time, significant amount of time. This could be 6 months, 8 months, a year for them to get this done. So the contractor has asked to be paid for the materials that are delivered on site. We have verified those materials and identified them. What this change order does in part is to split the original bid items into a material item, sub-item, if you will, and a labor sub-item, so they can get paid for the materials that are on site. All of the small material, valves, flanges, things like that are all secured in their shack, so it's not like they're just laying out there and going to be pilfered. The other item that this does is it pays for remobilization for the contractor to come back out to the site a second time. That's the $24,000 extra, if you will. So the change order really does two things. It splits those bid items into two separate subclasses, same price, no cost difference, and then it also adds a remobilization item.
Like, do we bear the cost of that remobilization, or is We Energies?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we're going to work with We Energies, but yeah, I don't think we're going to get very far with them. So.
Other comments or questions? Motion?
I'll move to approve the change order number 1 for Rawson Avenue Water Extension Project to IHC Construction Company, the amount of $24,891.56.
Galley seconds.
Roll call.
Gale, aye.
Over aye. Guzekowski, aye.
Richards, aye.
Galley, aye.
Number 8. Consider a motion to approve. Wait a minute. No, that's the same. All right.
Yeah, it's the same project. This is now approving the progress payment for the work. Part of that was included in the change order. We're paying for the materials that were delivered on site, and we're paying for that, and that's what's shown on the progress payment report here as well.
Okay.
Richards will approve item number 8, progress payment for Rawson Avenue Water Extension Project 20103.
No seconds.
Roll call.
Gale, aye.
Over aye. Guzekowski, aye.
Richards, aye.
Galley, aye.
Number 9. Approve progress payment for Oak Creek Water sluice gate,
Yeah.
sluice gate repairs to Bruno.
This one kind of follows the same theme in that we've got work done in our pump clear well at the treatment plant. We've got the clear well separated into 2 halves. There's a sluice gate in between the 2 halves in order to isolate that. That gate is broken. That's what's referred to in the report as a broken operator. In addition to that, on the south wall of the sluice, the south wall of the basin, there's a sluice gate between filter 4, 2 and 4, and this basin that provides a contamination concern. The DNR has asked for quite some time to have that sealed off. There's no reason to keep that active. It needs to be sealed off. The gate that we have there is not sealing, so we're going to remove that gate entirely and plate that opening off. The contractor has had the parts, ordered the parts fabricated particularly for the sealing off of that gate, but now we won't let them come and do the work because of our flows are too high. So we're asking them to wait until the fall when flows get reduced and they can come in and do that work. This is paying for the materials and fabrication work that they've undertaken so far. So it's a progress payment for that.
Any questions, comments? Motion?
Galley moves to approve progress payment of $10,000 to Bruno for the sluice gate repairs.
Richards will second.
Roll call.
Gale, aye.
Over aye. Guzekowski, aye.
Richards, aye.
Galley, aye.
Number 10, consider a motion to award flow meter replacement to Lee Mechanical.
So in our Janet pump station, it's our oldest pump station. There's an old Venturi meter that's in there that's measuring the flow leaving the station. That has given us all kinds of headaches. It needs to be replaced. So we first undertook some repairs to it, trying to see if we could rehabilitate it. That didn't work. It's time to replace that meter. ABB is the style of meters that we use at the treatment plant and have been very successful with those. We've been very happy with the work with those meters, with the functioning of them. So that's why that was specified out for this station as well. We then put it out for bids and got 2 bids back, or 2 quotes back on this. Lee Mechanical is the cheapest at the $25,023. So that's what we're looking to do on that project.
Pretty straightforward. Any questions? Motion?
Bill, move to approve the Janet Booster flow meter replacement to Lee Mechanical in the amount of $25,023.
Richards will second.
Roll call.
Gale, aye.
Coleman, aye. Guzekowski, aye.
Richards, aye.
Cieli, aye.
Number 11, consider motion to award water pump number 4 valve repair to Crane Engineering.
So this project, there's a check valve, if you will, a tilted disc at the end of the pump. After the pump has pumped water, if it's shut off, that water can't go back down through the pump into the well, okay? So it's been in the use. This is our largest pump. It's a 9 million gallon per day pump. That valve, just from rocking back and forth and being used over time, has developed kind of a wear on the outside. We'd worked with it for a while, trying to do something to rehabilitate it. The answer is going to be this repair. Crane is the only authorized Valvematic dealer, if you will, so they're going to come out and do that work for $11,970.
A pump worth?
Placement cost probably $30,000, I would say. You know, if we're just doing the top end, just the motor and that. So, yeah.
Questions, comments, motion?
Richards will make the motion that the board considers an agreement with Crane Engineering for the repair of the tilted disc valve on pump 4 at the raw water pump station in the amount of $11,970.
Cieli, second.
Roll call.
Gale, aye. Sorry.
Coleman, aye. Sleeping. Guzekowski, aye.
Richards, aye.
Alrighty, number 12, consider a motion to approve utility voucher payment for $785,000.
Yep, standard bills.
Yep. No comments or questions? Motion.
Gale, you good? Yep. Usually got a couple you look at. All right. Gale, move to approve the utility vouchers and payment in the amount of $785,838.50.
Richards will second.
Roll call.
Gale, aye.
Coleman, aye. Guzekowski, aye.
Richards, aye.
Cieli, aye.
Alrighty. Number 13, administrative report.
Yeah, I think the only thing I know included in your packet was also the investment summary as well. Nothing particularly special there, except the miserable interest rate from the LGIP again. Yeah, right. On the administrative report, just a couple things. The flow is up this year, both in sales and in production, significantly based on last year and based on the average as well. So those are all good signs. Let's see, change to average is 7.1% on sales. That will continue to grow throughout the year as we build for more of the summertime work. In engineering, the one item to note there is our Hall Avenue water main replacement from Groveland North has been put off now until 2023. We were not able to get that work done this year confidently. And next year, with Drexel Avenue being under road reconstruction, we don't want to take Howell Avenue out as well. That would just be a nightmare. So we're going to push this project off until 2023 and have our fingers crossed for no water main breaks, or at least no significant ones in Howell Avenue.
Better go to church.
Right? Yes. So hopefully we've been okay, but boy, every time you say that, it just makes you a little nervous. So.
Like the marking that was going on this week or last week on the road, was that for this project?
Yeah, I saw them out today too. I'm not exactly sure. I'll have to check with Brian on that. I thought we were all done with like our alternative locations and things like that. So I'm not I'm not sure what that's being marked for. Oops.
Mike, on that engineering report, sanitary rehab project, I didn't quite understand. The lining project is completed. Now, we had one home where the contractor failed to cut open the lateral after lining.
Yes.
How did it get a backup into the house though?
So the lateral comes into the main, but the main's got a liner that goes right past it. So there's no connection between the house and the main any longer. And it just started backing up in that lateral as effectively a storage basin until it backed up into the house. There was a gentleman that was living there, was super nice, really understanding, kind of worked in construction himself, so he understood how these things happen. It took a lot longer. When I got the call, I said, well, it can't be. We'll send a crew out to look at it, but it couldn't have been that liner. It's been too long. He didn't use a whole lot of water, and it actually was. So the contractor came out immediately. It was on a weekend, cut that out. When they did their video, they just didn't have it marked as to where that lateral was, and so they didn't cut it back open again. So no damage to the house, which was good. No issues there. So all of that was, we were very fortunate. Yeah, they'll take video record of it before and mark that all down so they know right where to come back and cut. And usually in the liner, you can see a bit of a dimple because it pushes out a bit. For this one, it just got missed. Yeah, that's unusual for that to happen. And it was a large main, 21-inch main, so it's not like the crew can take their standard equipment on the shelf, come out and cut it in. They had to find their larger size equipment, which wasn't quite as easy to find, but it all happened well. The guy, like I said, was just super. Our resident was super on being understanding about it, so, yeah. The other thing I wanted to mention, on the plant report, you can see there that we've got everything's in the green as it's shown here, all pluses. A lot of water is being pumped this year. Our yearly peak flow was up 20%, 18% compared to the average at 13.7. I think our max ever is 15.5. So we're definitely pumping higher this year than we have. And again, that looks like that's going to be continuing on. So that's good news.
Distribution report from Al. There was a couple things that, it seems like we're getting a little bit behind.
Yes.
Are we going to be able to do anything with any of that, or is that really a COVID thing that kind of still setting us back a little?
So I did note on sewer cleaning and sewer cammering, we were falling behind because both our cameras are in for repair. The way that we clean, we have started to do some cleaning, and you see that on the report here. It's limited. We really like to have that camera in while we're cleaning so we can have it working right in front of us and we can see what's going on, make sure that we've done a decent job. Otherwise, we're cleaning blind, which we know is done all over the place, but you just don't know how good of a job you did. So we did kind of slow off on that a little bit, put those guys on other tasks, and we're going to come back when we get the cameras back. But yeah, both of them appears to be a same problem, a video board problem in the camera. The first one went. When the second one went, we thought, well, it must be the cable or some of the controls in the van. And no, that's not the case. It was actually the control board in the camera. So they're thinking, they haven't repaired the second one yet. They're thinking that that's same problem there. So it backs us up really quickly. Andy's our guy who works on the sewer cleaning. He is super passionate about it. He is very frustrated that he can't be out doing this. He's going to hit it as hard as he can. The hardest part with Andy is you need to slow him down when it gets in the wintertime. The camera results don't come out. They get cloudy. They don't come out really well when you get that humid air in the sewer and the cold air up on top. So while he'd love to clean all year long, the camera work just isn't as good. And so we have to, all right, hold on, Andy. You can clean if you want. That's fine. But, don't rely on this to be our camera record. It doesn't.
Thought I recognized someplace in this report about that we were going to look for some better leak detecting sounding devices.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that has been so frustrating in that, Pat Francis used to say, standing on the street corner holding a lot of cash and nobody wants to come and take it. And that's a little bit like, this has been difficult to find. We are learning a lot more. It's taken us a whole lot longer than we had hoped. One of the guys asked for a trip out to Montana. That's where particular company is that can show it to us. We couldn't get a rep in the area to show us the equipment. But what we understand now is you can buy equipment that has really good headphones and really crappy microphones on the pavement, or you can buy equipment that has really good microphones and not so great headphones. And it sounds like that's the better option. Go get yourself a decent set of aviation headphones to block out that outside noise and you'll be doing better. We do have one scheduled now to come in and demonstrate for us. We've asked other utilities and borrowed some of their equipment. We're getting closer. We're just not quite there. And yeah, the guy, Mike's the guy that's working on that leak detection for us is really frustrated because he's using our old equipment and it's not going super well. He actually hears, you pick up radio stations, TMJ all the time. You're listening to what you think is a leak and you're hearing Scafidi talk, and it's disappointing, right? Because we'd like to get that work done. So
His voice is never.
well, no, Steve's voice is no. Yeah. So we're trying.
Okay.
Or questions or comments?
I can share with you on the customer side. Well, I probably shouldn't. I just stumbled on the customer privacy issue. So one of our largest water customers is up 13%. We also have another customer that's out on 13th Street that's up 3.7%. So there are, some of them are up pretty good. There's another circuits manufacturer that's down 2.7%. So I'll give you of those that had great change.
Else for anybody? Motion to adjourn?
Oh, wait, up the inspections, Mike Simmons, DOT and repaving Highway 100 from Shepherd to Chicago versus us trying to haul clean soils to the lakefront.
So, right, we were aware that they were planning that project, and then recently they indicated that they might want to bump that up a year, and that caused us great concern because we expect that MMSD clean soil to come next year, and really hot and heavy, truckload after truckload. So we asked them to reconsider bumping that up, and we've got a meeting with them next week, and they'll report back on what the situation is there. So, but that could get kind of dicey. I mean, it really would throw such a monkey wrench in it that it might squash our deal of getting that soil, because if these trucks have to follow a detour route into Caledonia, there goes the finances associated with that extra trucking and time is just probably catastrophic to the MMSD project. So we really got to find a way to make this work, and we will. So.
Let me know if you hear something in the next 2 weeks, because like I said, I'm meeting with Schaefer in 2 weeks.
Okay.
And nothing else. Maybe he can plant a few seeds.
Oh, okay. Good. Thank you.
That it? Gail, you set?
Motion to adjourn.
Fred? Bob? All right, motion to adjourn. Second?
Second.
Roll call.
Yeah, aye.
Tobin, aye. Guzekowski, aye.
Richard's aye.
Seaford, aye.
It's a wrap.
It's a wrap.